Hello everyone. Today I am on the point of giving you some beneficial information about teaching English to Generation Z and Alpha students. Let's get started. First of all, I am on the point of giving you some contents of today's topic. For example, for the introduction, you are going to have the evolution of generational learning process information, and for the next one, understanding Generation Z and understanding Generation Alpha, strategies for teaching English to Generation Z and Alpha, challenges and consideration, and at last we have conclusion. Let's begin from the Thomas Armstrong quote that according to his thought that the first task of education is to ignite the spark of learning, and the second task of education is to encourage a love of learning. According to given information about Generation Z, the children who were born approximately from 1997 to 2012 and Generation Alpha children who were born approximately from 2013 to 2025 are significantly shaped by the digital age. As you know that we are living in 21st century, and it means that we are living with technological tools. All we know that we have got lots of technological tools, that smartphones, laptops, computers, and overhead projector, internet, and etc. These generations, I mean the Generation Z and Alpha, are characterized by their adaptedness with this technology, as they have been exposed to the internet as social media and mobile devices from a young age. According to the evolution of generational learning, Generation Z and Generation Alpha have their own perspectives. For example, Generation Z is the first generation to grow up with smartphones and social media platforms like Instagram and Snapchat, profoundly affecting their communication styles and learning environments. And according to the given information about Generation Alpha children, is even more immersed in technology, often referred to as digital natives. Before they even enter formal education, they are accustomed to interactive multimedia content that captures their attention and aids in learning. As you know that we have got lots of social media accounts like to chat with students, to chat with children, and I think Generation Z and Generation Alpha are using more profoundly than before, like Generation X and Generation Y. And according to the given information about digital engagement, both generations demonstrate a preference for digital engagement over traditional methods, and research indicates that these learners excel when they have access to technology that incorporates gamification, multimedia resources, and interactive learning environments. As you know that we have used lots of gamification methods in our teaching, but according to interests of Generation Z and Alpha, they must use more than before. And according to the given information about the characteristics of Generation Z, born into a world enriched with technology. Generation Z has never known life without the internet or smartphones. They cannot imagine their lives without using the internet in the classroom, even in the classroom. And they are extremely comfortable with digital devices and are adept at navigating various online platforms for both communication and education. And according to the preferred learning styles, there are three types of learning. First of all, the learning interactive, and strategies like group discussions, group projects, and hands-on activities foster a sense of community and engagement. If you give your students like group work projects or hands-on activities, it will help them to foster a sense of community. And I think that they can collaborate really interestingly, really easy with their teens, I think. And according to the project-based learning, engaging students through projects that allow for creativity, and innovation enhances their learning experiences. You see, I think there is the most information, there is the most essential information about this kind of learning process. And the last one, multimedia integration. What is itself? And I'm going to give you some little information about multimedia integration. I think that multimedia integration is also really like interesting as well, and demanding also because using platforms and educational apps can help make learning more enjoyable. Because I think that in our today's life, in our technological period, we cannot imagine our like teaching style or like living lives without like internet or some kinds of technological tools. Because when a teacher uses some kind of technological tools in their lessons, I think all the students, even active students, even like passive students, must be engaged really easy. And emotional and psychological needs. What kind of needs does it include with like emotional and psychological process? The first one, Generation Z values meaningful relationships with peers and educators, and they can benefit from collaborative learning experiences and environments that promote connection. And I think that in order to promote the connection between like students and between the peers, teachers should use like lots of learning experiences in order to make their lesson really collaborative. And Generation Z students thrive when they receive constructive criticism, and I think that encouragement from teachers also. I think that today's Generation Z students are eager to have like constructive criticism, but they also tend to have encouragement from their teachers. And also regular feedback and support are really crucial in teaching students like Generation Z. And according to the visual learning of Generation Z, there are two types of visual learning. For example, the first one is graph or chart. And I can give you some information about the graph or chart and they can illustrate attention spans across generations or the shift in the communication styles. And according to the infographic learning, visually provide a snapshot of Generation Z's characteristics. For example, including of like images of popular social media platforms they use. I think that in our teaching style, we have got lots of popular social media platforms like Kahoot program, Quizlet program, and also we have like Bluecat program. I think three of them are really interesting to use while teaching students in the classroom. And engagement activities in English classrooms can be explained as two words like gamification and technology. And according to the using gamification elements like leaderboards and contents to create a sense of rivalry and encourage users to work together. I think that in every classroom, the students and the teachers should have leaderboards. It means that all the active students must be participated. They must be loaded in the such kind of boards as leaders, and we have got like sense of rivalry, since it means that they must work like collaboratively in order to like win each other. And according to the technology, integrating technology into training with interactive online quizzes, learning apps, and virtual reality simulations. And cultivate a purpose-driven workplace in teaching. Generation Z is drawn to workplaces that align with their values and contribute to a greater purpose. And clearly communicate your organization mission and values, emphasizing how each team member plays a role in achieving these goals. imagine that a teacher gives some kind of group work to their students, and all the students should work collaboratively, should work in a group. And I think every student in the group must play a crucial role in order to achieve some kind of like smart goals in teaching. And this sense of purpose fosters two types of like meaning, two types of goals. For example, the first goal should be explained as engagement, and the next one is dedication. And I think that all we know that about like what is journaling, what is meditating, what is running and painting. And I think that the four of them have been hobbies of Generation Z. And I think that Generation Z uses to recenter and relax in the chaotic and fast-moving world in order to like chaotic and fast-moving world, in order to like have a relaxation in such kind of world. Generation Z also like tend to like some kind of hobbies, call it like journaling, meditating themselves, for example, running in the streets and painting some kind of pictures. And a lot of Gen Z will take to social media in order to track their progress and hold themselves accountably for like their self-care journeys as well. It is trendy to be healthy and balanced in Generation Z's age. And understanding Generation Alpha, and we are going to tend to like to the next slide, like engaging today's students requires strategies that appeal to their interests and learning styles. First of all, according to the given information about understanding Generation Alpha, there are 3 types of learning styles, and they are called interactive content, student-centered learning, and the third one is real-world connections. And what is interactive content? We're going to look through all of them. First of all, using gamification, multimedia resources and interactive platforms like there is, you can see like Kahoot program or Quizlet program can make lessons more appealing and fun. According to like students' interest, teachers use such kind of like really fascinating, really appealing like platforms in order to make their lessons really like interesting as well. Because as you know that in Kahoot or Quizlet program, you can like collect feedback from students, and you can give lots of like assignments like to do themselves, or to answer the questions given by the teacher also. And according to the student-centered learning style, the providing choices in assignments and projects empower students, making them more invested in learning. I think in our teaching system, the most crucial one is also like student-centered learning, because I think that in our old traditional method, teacher-centered learning method, was also really used like more and more. And into today's world, I mean in our technological period, student-centered learning is like the most crucial one itself. And according to the real-world connections, lessons that incorporate events, social issues, or culturally relevant materials can spark discussions and students' interest as well. You see, I think there is also really important. And what about critical thinking in like Generation Z and Generation Alpha? What kind of role does critical thinking have in our like teaching to Generation Z and Alpha? And I think that problem-based learning encourages students to analyze, evaluate, and create, promoting deep understanding and skill development. And you see, I think it is like really crucial information about critical thinking, because while thinking critically, students should analyze themselves, evaluate their knowledge, and create their own like understanding or their own creating like comprehension, and promoting deeper understanding and development of their skills as well. And collaborative environments where students work together in pairs or groups help build trust and rapport. And opportunities for pairs like in order to like gain such kind of success in a differentiated setting boost confidence and enthusiasm for learning. And lessons that incorporate diverse perspectives allow students to, the first one is appreciate different cultures and backgrounds and enhance empathy and global citizenship. I think that while incorporating such kind of lessons, teachers should use such kind of diverse perspectives, and I think that they can allow students to appreciate and cultural background or to enhance the global citizenship and empathy. And what about learning English and teaching English to Generation Z and Alpha? Learning English is crucial for success and in a globalized society, and effective teaching prepares students for this reality. All we know that learning English is like more common like thing in our today's world, because English is like second language of like common countries, and I think that English is a language of business and etc. Learning English enables students to connect with peers around the world and fostering intercultural dialogue and understanding as well. And now I'm going to give you like 4 strategies to raise Generation Alpha effectively. First one is encourage open communication, and teacher and student must communicate with each other in an open way, and because in order to encourage them, in order to like help them to learn some kind of new strategies, to learn some kind of knowledge, teachers should encourage with like in an open communication manner. And the next strategy to rise a Generation Alpha learning effectively, foster independence and self-reliance. According to the foster independent in like Generation Alpha, teachers must give them like self-reliable sources or self-reliable assignments as well. And the third strategy is emphasizing technology education. It means that students must be used like technological tools in their teaching process as well. And according to the fourth strategy of like Generation Alpha in order to raise their effectiveness is provide opportunities for cultural awareness and social experiences. And a growing discourse suggests that Generation Z, the Gen Z, is endowed with higher cognitive abilities compared to their predecessors. That their parents, their grandparents, and etc. And the millennials and their grandparents as well. And this assertion prompts an exploration into the unique characteristics and experiences that might contribute to the perception of the heightened intelligence within Gen Z. And according to the given fact about like Generation Z, average attention spans for Generation Z are around 8 seconds. You see, only 8 seconds is really enough for students, for taking the students' consideration and during the lesson, and prompting the need for more interactive learning methods. It means that after the 8 seconds, teachers should use some kind of learning methods in order to make the students work like interactively with their peers, with their the students in the classroom. And according to the 3w demonstrate.com, around 2 billion of population in our world are considered like about the generation alpha. And it means that the Gen Alpha population has reached worldwide till 2 billion. And you see, I think that it is like unimaginable count, like unimaginable number. And according to the given information about this, demostate.com, Generation Alpha are born worldwide each week as of like 2024, and you can see the number was 2.59 million. And according to the like given information about demostate.com, that 2/3 of the Gen Alphas are likely to work in jobs that do not exist today. I think that in our future must be like workers like will not have any job in their like upcoming future, some kind of builders, some kind of architects, and etc. It's my opinion as well. And Generation Z and Generation Alpha are both digital natives, but Gen Alpha is growing up in a world where technology is even more pervasive, and this will have a big impact on their lives. I think that you know this kind of quote by Neil Howe, author of Generations, The History of America's Future. According to the like Neil Howe thought that, and he wrote like this kind of quote in his book about like Generation, The History of America's Future. And I think that most of the like today's like Generation Z and Alpha children must use more and more technology in their upcoming future. And strategies for teaching English to Generation Z and Alpha, according to the given information about Generation Z and Alpha, digital natives who have grown up with technology at their fingertips. It means that when they were born, and bring unique learning styles and expectation to the classroom. And in order to effectively teach English to these generations, educators, the teachers, need to adapt their approach and leverage the power of technology to create engaging and impactful learning experiences. And utilize online platforms like educational apps and interactive games to make learning engaging and fun. And like platforms like you can see like Quizlet, Kahoot, and Duolingo offer gamified learning experiences that cater to Gen Z and Alpha's digital fluency. I think that by the help of using such kind of programs like platforms, I think that students must be like engaged really easily. And now I'm going to give you some like information, some like facts about like some kind of countries like in China and India. And did you know that in China students use online platforms like WebKit, italki, and Duolingo to learn English? And in China, three kinds of like platforms like call it WebKit, italki, and Duolingo are really popular. And what about in India? In India, platforms like Byju's, Unacademy, and English Leap are popular ones, like popular platforms for learning English. And in order to engage students in digital storytelling projects, allowing them to express themselves creatively through multimedia narratives, integrate tools like online chat, video conferencing, and social media platforms into the learning process to promote real-world communication skills. In order to like help them, help the students to promote real-world communication skills, like develop such kind of communication skills, teachers should use such kind of like integrated tools. For example, we can count as like online chat platforms, like video conferencing platforms like Zoom, and the last one is social media platforms. As you know that we have got lots of social media platforms like Instagram, like Facebook, and etc. And in order to encourage active participation in the English classrooms, teachers should like use three kinds of like activities. The first one is interactive activities. It can be explained as making debates, role plays, and simulations. And student-led discussions. What kind of discussion is it? Leading discussions, for example, can be included as student-led discussion and asking questions from each other and like from teacher as well. And the last one is gamification. And I think that the following points of like gamification can be incorporating game-based learning elements such as points, badges, and leaderboards to enhance motivation and engagement in our students. And what kind of challenges and what kind of considerations and what kind of solutions does like Generation Z, does teaching English to Generation Z and Alpha have in our today's life? For example, not all the students have equal access to devices and reliable internet connections, but also lots of teachers, the whole teachers of our today's world can create disparities in learning opportunities. For example, in order to explore alternative resources such as like offline materials, printed handouts, or like community learning centers with internet access. As you can see, there are some kind of tips in order to using of such kind of challenges in teaching. For example, teachers should use such kind of alternative resource instead of using internet in their classroom. For example, offline materials. For example, teachers should have lots of printed handouts in order to use in order to give the students, and community learning centers. It means that some kind of learning centers must be included in this kind of centers, and etc. And the next one is the next tip in order to overcome this kind of challenge. For example, implement hybrid models that combine online and in-person learning to accommodate different needs. And both online learning and offline learning must be included in this kind of model. And according to given information about partners with local organization to provide devices or internet access to underserved communities. And there is also one question that how can we overcome in teaching English? How can we overcome some kind of challenge, some kind of problems while teaching students in the classroom? Incorporate activities that promote skills such as, and there is given consideration, there is given some kind of solution to such kind of challenge is to incorporate activities that promote skills such as group projects, debates, and problem-solving exercises. And I think that 3 of them are really interesting as well, and really helpful to for not only for the students but also for the teachers also, as this kind of skills are really interesting and I think really demanding. And now I'm going to give some kind of tips, some kind of suggestions for teachers in order while they're teaching English in their classroom. The first tip is use gamification techniques to make learning more enjoyable. I think that this kind of tip can be called in as a whole engagement, because in order to engage all the students passive students and active students, teachers must use some kind of gamification techniques, and teachers must give motivation to their students. I think that motivation can help students to set clear goals and provide regular feedback. And what about support? And support, while using some kind of support in teaching, teachers have a backup plan for lessons such as assignments or offline activities. As you can see here in the table graph that from 2016 to 2021, more learners are accessing online learning English. As you can see, day by day, year by year, all the numbers are rising. And I think that are rising significantly. I think that this kind of numbers must be really high in the upcoming future, and I think that upcoming years of our world. And there is given some information that is called because of, and there is given some information about teachers should. The first one is because of not having equal access to devices and reliable internet connections, teachers should explore alternative resources such as offline materials, printed handouts, or community learning centers, as I have mentioned before. And because of online learning, students can lead to decreased attention spans. And in that case, teachers should incorporate short breaks and mindful exercise to help students refocus. And what kind of problems does teachings while teaching classroom have in the classroom, and what kind of solutions can teachers have according to the given problems? For example, the first problem can be explained as technical difficulties can disrupt learning and frustrate students. And to this kind of problem, there is given solution that provide technical support, resources, and tutorials for students to troubleshoot and common issues. And according to the time we have finished our theme based on generation teaching strategies to Generation Z and Alpha, I'm going to give you some conclusive information, and this can be explained as in our world it's crucial to approach teaching for Generation Z and Alpha with an understanding of their unique perspectives and expectation. I think that in order to have full information about Generation Z and Alpha learning style, teacher must use lots of their newly materials as well, newly methods in teaching, because I think that old-fashioned methods like grammar translation method and etc. methods are not really useful for teaching, I think, and for learning some kind of language as well. And in order to by embarrassing technology, I mean by using some kind of technological tools in our education, promoting digital literacy and creating engaging and relevant learning experience, educators can empower these digital natives to become confident and proficient communicators in English. I think that for both Generation Z and Alpha, and teachers must use some kind of learning experience and materials and some kind of engagement in order to make all the language learners to have really enjoyable, really interesting lesson, because they must use some kind of proficiency materials as I told about handouts, printed handouts, and etc. And all the educators must empower some kind of the Generation Z and Alpha natives to become really confident in their classroom and really proficient in their communicating or chatting with use of English. I think that, as you can see, here is given. I have given lots of brief information about Generation Z and Generation Alpha, and how to include how to make them interested in the classroom. And I think that if you have any questions, if you have any kind of thoughts about generation teaching strategies about Generation Z and Alpha, you can write here in the comments as well. And thanks for attention, dears, and I think that you must follow us on our social media. Goodbye.